Well, hey everybody, I'm Jan Erickson from Stepping Aside, and welcome to As Above, So Below, a rune and tarot divination for Monday, the 4th day of September, 2023. Well, this is still the Labor Day weekend, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to do the video, but I'm not going to write it up like I usually do. I post that over on the blog at Stepping Aside at imsteppingaside.com, and the video will go up on the left side panel there, or you can just watch it on YouTube, wherever you watch it. But I'm just going to put like a note over on Medium, Patreon, Substack, and all of that, so that I'm not going to write it up. I'll just put like a link and say, hey, I did this, but it's the holiday and I'm not going to do a write-up. So anyway, if you're used to going and reading that along with the video, I'm sorry. It's my youngest son and his wife and the kids, the three grandkids. They were here Saturday and Sunday. They left last night early because the middle one, the oldest grandson, developed a fever. And so like, oh geez. And so they drove home. You know, it's like 3.5 hours to get there, but they drove home, and he was doing better, but then he started feeling funny again. And so I guess this morning he woke up and he has another fever. So, you know, they're dealing with that right now, but I'm sure he'll be fine. But it was just, they just felt like, you know what, maybe we should just take them all home and deal with this there. And I think that was probably for the best. But we had 2 incredible days with them, and now we're just kind of back to doing what we normally do on a Monday. But at the same time, we have to do some cleanup, and because we had moved stuff out of the, you know, the way of the kids while they were here, and so we have to bring all that back in some way. But anyway, so that's what's been going on here, and I hope you're having a good weekend. I hope you don't have to work today. If you do, you know, hopefully you're getting, what are you getting, like double time maybe or something? That'd be cool. Holiday pay at least. But anyway, let's take a look at our first rune of the day. The significator runes. This is the As Above side. This is Yura. Yura means year. And the interesting thing about Yura is it's an earth element rune, and it's about transformation and balance. It's energetic alignment. It's comprised of Kenaz in both directions. And Kenaz is the light of spirit, or the torch, or clarity, or higher awareness. So it's already a higher vibratory rune anyway, with all of that in it. But we're really looking at the give and take of things, cycles, the cyclicalness of things, unfolding awareness. It can be herbalism. It can be, I've used it in a garden bind rune that I've done. I have hanging about, I have several I've done, and I have them hanging about, and Yura's part of that, because there's a level of there's an element of fertility about it. So there's a creation aspect to this, a give and take, an unfolding awareness. And I guess unfolding awareness is really that, well, I guess that you take in from spirit, but then you express to other people. So unfolding clarity, maybe. I just, even though it has some other interpretations, I sort of focus on that one. Let's see, I don't need that. I need these. But for the below side, the ego side of things, let's take a look at the 4 elemental runes. I'll throw them down and put them in the order of air, fire, water, and earth. Let's see what I have here. Oh, well, we had the same thing on Thursday of last week, Carcer, and Carcer looks like a little, let me find it here. Here it is. It looks like a little bird cage. And really what it means, it's considered an evil influence, which I don't consider it an evil influence, but it's of the olden days. That's what they said it was. But anyway, I look at this as self-imprisonment. Maybe unwillingness to move outside your existing perceptions and consider anything else. And with the unfolding awareness of Yura, I have to think that the reading's then going to focus on releasing that need to stay within this bubble and moving out and looking at other types of perceptions, other types of ideas, other beliefs, and considering that from a different perspective, not staying within this self-imprisoned type of existence that we have. I think I likened it on last Thursday to the Eight of Swords, in some ways, where you may feel bound and blindfolded, and you may feel like you have to go within to turn off the noise of your own thoughts and the thoughts of others that are keeping you on a path that really isn't working for you anymore. And the nice part about looking at Yira in terms of unfolding awareness is you begin to realize that, at least in terms of Yira and Karser, that the bubble you're living in, the bubble of perception, the bubble of belief, may not be working for you anymore, and you need to explore other things. And you realize that in sort of an unfolding way, things have been happening. Some cause and effect has made you rethink things. Some synchronicities that were unexpected maybe are causing you to think about things differently, to consider other ideas in a way that maybe you haven't before. And with Yira, you're looking at something that's, more higher awareness based. And so Spirit comes in, Spirit says, you know what, this isn't working. I'm going to put stuff in your path here, or you're going to put stuff in your own path where it because you are the Spirit after all. But you're going to do that from a higher perspective without even being aware of it. You populate your world with experiences that open your eyes to new things. And so let me just shuffle a little bit here and see where we go with the cards. I'm going to cut the deck, and then I'm going to take the bottom half of the deck, the last half of the deck. Okay, let's take... Well, okay. We have an ace. We have one from the major, a card from the major arcana, and we have one from the suit of swords. The aces I regard as having more power and weight than the rest of the suit. So this is the Ace of Wands, and so I view the Ace of Wands as having more power because it's said the aces are said to contain all of the energy of the suit. So I think it's the genesis of the rest of it, and piecemeal. The rest of it is all piecemeal. But we're going to start with. I'm going to leave them in the order I drew them, I think. Let's start with the Three of Swords. Now, this is generally regarded as betrayal. You see clouds raining down behind a heart that's got three swords piercing it. You've got two on the back side of the one in the center, so you can look at this as these are the betrayers, and this is the one being betrayed. It could be that there's gossip. It could be there's people trying to undermine you in some way. It could be a love triangle. It could be a lot of different things. I saw one person, which I still don't understand what they were saying, interpret this completely differently. And it wasn't in relation to other cards, but it's a new way of self-expression. It's like, so what? Betrayal? I don't know. I couldn't make any sense out of what the person said. So I maybe it was just said weirdly and didn't really express what they were trying to say. Well, I don't know. Or I just couldn't see it. One of the two. But or it was just something that was, I don't know, maybe it just hits them differently than it does me. But there's some level of integration here, some level of interaction with swords. That, part of swords is about exploring the difference between truth and deception and being able to see the difference between them and understand the effect of all of that, especially in terms of deception. And this to me is just a card of deception in some way. It doesn't have to be a love triangle, although a lot of people interpret it that way. It's going to depend on what the rest of the cards are. I don't see that here necessarily with the other two cards. But in terms of Yira, you're looking at a certain amount of unfolding awareness here, that you're becoming aware that something's happening in your background, in the background of your life, where maybe there's some undermining going on, there's some gossip, there's things being said that maybe aren't true. And even if they are, it's like, there's a better way of dealing with it than that. It's like if you have a work situation where you've got a couple of people you work with that are jealous of you or envious of it. Maybe you're about to get promoted or something. So they're going to do something to try to stop that. They're going to go to the boss and they're going to, do this, and try to undermine you in some way. If you're getting the accolades and they're not, and it's a group project and you're not really pulling your weight, and the others aren't pulling your weight, and you are, and you're the one that should get the accolades, well, they may try to subvert some of that. And so I see all of that in the Three of Swords. It's an upsetting thing with the rain coming down. There's also a lack of clarity with that. But at the same time, in terms of the clouds being dark, but eventually the rain washes it all away and the sun comes out, and that's just implied here. And suddenly you start to see things that are going on. So there could be something like that, some unfolding awareness today about, or of the past few days, where you are starting to rethink things about something that's going on, and you're starting to realize some things. And instead of being trapped in the bubble that you've been in, and maybe you haven't seen it, now all of a sudden you are. So it could be something like that. Moving on to the Ace of Wands, here we have a hand reaching out for the clouds, as it is in all ace cards in the Rider-Waite Tarot. Here we see a club with branches, little branches starting to grow out of it. You see the leaves, some of them are falling out with the force of the hand reaching out. It's like an explosion outside the clouds, but it's a hand reaching out from an unseen source. Typically it's spirit, the unseen hand of spirit. And here you see you see a castle over here. That's a castle right there. You see a winding little river here. You see some trees and some verdant hills, if you will. You also see some mountains in the background that are brown. But the Ace of Wands is the fire element, whereas Swords is the air element. Fire is about the will. And so you're expressing your will, you're expressing your creativity. These are new ideas, new expression. So it's the genesis of some other way of motivating yourself or taking action. It's very action oriented. So Swords, though, those are the two elements, air and fire, that are action oriented. They're projective. They're considered masculine energy, whereas earth and water are feminine energy, or receptive, or passive types of responses. But with the Ace of Wands, it's like, okay, I'm ready to go, and I know what I'm going to do about this, right? About whatever's going on for you here. Whether, again, it's a love triangle or it's some stuff going on behind your back, but you're willing to take command of the situation and do what you need to do. And so here together we have a 4 numerology together, the 1 of the Ace and the 3 of Swords. And then we have, let's see, with the star, that is the 17th card of the major arcana. That reduces to 8, so that's strength. So 4 and 4, or 8 and 4 is 12, and so that's going to come down to 3 again. And so the strength of having a positive interaction or integration with other people, you have to find a way to return to that somehow, some way. And again, the exercise of the will is part of that. But staying within the bubble or the self-imprisonment of carcer, maybe you refuse to see what's really happening, and the Ace of Wands is suggesting not so fast. You are the one that has to do something here, and the unfolding awareness of this, now that you know what is going on, that's part of that. Then we wish upon a star. Here we have the goddess nude. She's pouring. She got 1 foot in the water in the pond, and then a knee next to the water's edge on the ground. She's got 2 pitchers there, and she's pouring the waters of the divine waters of spirit, essentially, into the pond and onto the land, nourishing both. Again, water and earth are passive influences. You see whenever you see a big star in the tarot, that's an equal to 10, and then you've got the 7 stars around her, so that's 17. You see, I mean, the grass is green. You see little flowers coming up. You don't see any color to, well, maybe one of them you do. But there's a little bit of color to the flowers, but for the most part, there you don't. They're just drawings of them. You see a fun little bird over there, sitting on top of a tree on the hill right there. You see some mountains in the distance. But the star is about our hopes, our wishes, insight, transformation, joy, inspiration, and I think that both the Ace of Wands and the Star, I think that they're going to move us out of the carcer experience of staying within this bubble and not really seeing what's going on around us, or rejecting outright what's going around us. It could be that for some people. But most of the time, I think it's just you're going along, you're doing your thing, and you think what you think, you believe what you believe, and maybe you just don't consider. And other people might say, well, it could be this going on or that going on. And you're like, no, 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 I don't believe that. Well, Yira is suggesting, yeah, maybe you better think about it. Maybe the awareness is progressive, unfolding, in other words. And maybe the clarity that you need to draw clarity in from spirit into your awareness, where you can maybe let go of some of the perceptions that kept you from wanting to see things. Sometimes we don't want to see things that are bad, or that are harming us. It's like, ooh, maybe if I don't look at it, it'll go away, But the Ace of Wands is suggesting, no, you've got to take the bull by the horns and exercise your will, because you matter too in this. If someone is in fact trying to undermine your success, or undermine a relationship you're in, or something like that, you need to know, and you need to accept that that's happening, and come up with some kind of way to become joyful and optimistic again, and transform all of that into something better for yourself, even if it's letting go of the refusal to see what's going on around you. Don't keep yourself in some kind of a bubble. Be aware of what it is, no matter how upsetting it might be. There has to be some level of determination, and you have that with the Ace of Wands, where you find out what the truth is, and you deal with whatever's happening here. The betrayal that's happening here, because that's what this is. It's a betrayal that can open your eyes, between Yira and just the Three of Swords, the swords itself, understanding what the truth of this situation really is. And so there's a level of the rain washing away all of it as well, even though you don't see a sun coming out in this. It's just implied, I think. You're upset, the rain's pouring down, but then all of a sudden the rain stops and you go outside, and there's a different feeling, right? When you do that, the rain's pouring down, it quits, and you wait a little bit, you go out, and maybe the sun's starting to peek through the trees, and you can hear the sound of the rain dripping off the house or what have you, or out of the trees, and the smell is different, everything is renewed, it's refreshed. Well, the same thing's happening here with the star. You have a right to your hopes and dreams. You have a right to have a transformative experience in your life. You have a right to be happy. You have a right to understand the truth about something. And I think the insight that you gain is also reinforced by Yira here today. So I think if I'm going to put them under... If I'm going to put the runes on top of any of the cards, I think that I'm going to put Carcer on top of the Three of Swords and align that there. Whatever self-imprisonment you're experiencing, not letting go of fear, or not letting go of what's, of the truth that's there. You're refusing to see the truth that's there, I guess is what I'm trying to say. Let the rain wash over you and transform you and renew you, so that you can see things more clearly, and realize that if there's something going on, that you can't just sit passively by and allow that to happen. You have to either stand up for yourself, or you have to assert yourself in some way, and I think we see that with the Ace of Wands. And then from there, the outcome is now you have this whole world that opens up to you, when you've let go of any refusal to see what's happening, and the door starts opening, and you start seeing the truth everywhere. And at that point, you can decide, well, where do I go from here? Where am I going to go? Am I going to stay locked up in my own perception and continue down this same path that I ended up being here in? Or do I have a right to be happy, and do I have a right to transform my life in a way that creates I don't know, a metamorphosis almost. That the butterfly coming out of the chrysalis and flying and being inspired and transforming your life in a really positive way. So I don't see this as something where it's a permanent situation. I think that whatever this is if you take command of it and take that command away from the two swords behind the middle one, then I don't think they'll see you coming, essentially. If there's a betrayal, if there's some people undermining you, like at work or in your personal life or what have you, they're not going to see you coming. They're going to think they can get away with it, but they can't. The Ace of Wands is suggesting no, they can't get away with it, because you're going to know now. You're going to let that unfolding awareness become part of who you are. You're going to accept it for what it is, and you're going to deal with it, and they won't see you coming. They'll think they've gotten away with it all. And then there you are going, you think so? Really? I don't think so. And from there, see, you can walk away into your new awareness, basically, with the star, and make your hopes and wishes manifest for you, instead of being locked up in whatever nonsense is going on here, right? And people trying to prevent you from knowing something, and while they're behind the scenes doing things they shouldn't be doing. So you just show them. You show them who's boss. You show them who's really in control here, and then you move on. It's like the best revenge is living well, right? Well, that's kind of what the star reminds me of in this reading. It's like, well, you wanna try to ruin my life? Well, we'll show you what's really going on here. That's not going to happen. You're going to see, and I'm going to be happy, and you guys are going to be left wondering what the heck just happened. All right? That's how I see this. So anyway, that's it. Again, I'm not going to write this up. I'm just going to publish it and post it. It'll be published on YouTube here, and then I'll post it on the blog and the other places just so people know it's up. And then Thursday I'll go ahead and I'll start doing the write-ups again on Thursday when we come back again on Thursday together. So anyhow, have a good holiday if you're not working. And even if you are, you're hopefully getting some good pay today for that. And have a wonderful day. Have a wonderful beginning of the week, and come back again on Thursday for another edition of As Above, So Below. Click subscribe if you haven't yet. I'd love you to do that, and be good to yourself, be good to one another, and blessed be.